Hey everybody, Hardtekticon is back. And where are all the freaking toys, I'm sure you're wondering? Well, they're all over the place and a little bit too big to just show off in this frame. So, today, I'm going to be showing off my Planet X collection so far. In case you don't know, Planet X is a third-party company based in China, I do believe, that up until recently have focused on making high-quality figures from the Transformers Fall of Cybertron video game, where all the Transformers had more Cybertronian versions. So, let's get into it. Now for this video, we're going to start with alt mode, and we're going to start with the very beginning to the most recent. Now the very first figure they made was pretty much a Supreme, maybe even Titan class figure called Genesis, and it was a Fall of Cybertron Omega Supreme. I did not shell out the $400 almost something dollars that it cost for this no-name third-party company's first venture. And it was a very brave to do so much figure, such a big figure, in their first venture. And then after that, they went really small. Their very second venture, I keep saying venture, adventure, was Fall of Cybertron Swoop here. The first of their Fall of Cybertron Dinobots. And you know, I still have not had my hands on a Genesis or their repaint of them, made them. But if this was their first figure and not Genesis, then that would have been a great first shot. When it comes down to it, there's not really many of their figures at all that I don't love. But yeah, this was Swoop. They called him Caelus or Caelus or something like that, and he has got some amazing detail, some amazing articulation, even in this little pterodactyl, pterodon, whatever. I'm not a dinosaur expert, guys, sorry. Alt mode. He's got some nice blue eyes there. The Autobot symbol is from Repro Labels. He comes with these two little missiles and two swords. Of course, the missiles and the swords can come off. Like that. Typical 5mm. They don't fire anything, they're just one solid piece. But you can plug more stuff into the side. So, and here is a sword. This is the only of the bladed or melee type weapons that they did not make with transparent plastic, or it would have been red. And they did fix that later on with a figure that I never did get. But when it comes down to it, guys, I did get most of them. So, hope it got you a good snack. It's going to be a slightly long video. But yeah, here is Swoop. Some amazing detail. Some of these parts are really sharp. I mean, not even as sharp as they're going to get later on. But, yeah. He's got an opening mouth. His little hand, claw, paw things move around. And of course he flaps and flaps and flaps and swoops and wow, and all that. And he's Swoop. And a great first affordable figure for this line. This was just a little bit after Hasbro came out with the Fall of Cybertron line of their own. And you know, they made a Jazz and Grimlock, and the original plan was to have these guys to go with that Grimlock, but then they had kind of a fan vote, and everybody voted to have a third-party Grimlock, which they knocked out of the park. But yeah, that's Swoop. Now, I have all my Fall of Cybertron figures, Planet X and Hasbro and Takara, all on either side of me. So you're going to be hearing me getting up and rolling around in my little roller chair a bunch. So, on to the third figure they made. I'm going to go ahead and put Swoop aside here. Neptune, which was their take on Fall of Cybertron Sludge. And man, the thing about the Fall of Cybertron Dinobots from Planet X is every figure got a little better and a little better and a little better. But this was only their second of the Dinobots, third figure altogether. And he's still one of my favorites. I mean, he just has so much character. He's got an opening mouth and all that. He's also got blue eyes. His teeth are freaking sharp. I mean, he's just a really great figure. He comes with 2 blasters that you can plug into his legs. He's got places for you to plug them in right here, and right here on either side. And this is what it looks like. It's pretty cool. Apparently it's from the video game. I kind of did a quick watch of the walkthrough, but nothing serious, so I never actually played the game. So I'm no expert on the game. I just know that these guys look really close to the characters on the game. But yeah, he is a really big, chunky, clunky, solid figure. I mean, you're not going to hurt this guy real easy. I'm actually a little afraid because if I just popping him in the face. And I probably shouldn't do that, but he is probably the most even-tempered of the Dinobot storyline-wise. Now, in addition, he came with 2 of these hammers. Unfortunately, and this is one of the few flaws of Planet X, you can't store both hammers, which this is the hammer, in his alt mode. And since we're talking about it, really that is Planet X's biggest flaw. Is they give you a ton of weapons, and more often than not, they can't hold all the weapons at one time. If they can, it normally just looks like a big mess. And in alt mode, they can typically hold like 25 to 75% of their weaponry. Very rarely can they hold all of it. Swoop right here with his 2 swords and 2 missiles is one of the few exceptions. But back on a Swoop. He has got some amazing detail. When I had gotten... Did I call him Swoop? Sludge. When I had gotten Sludge... oh my goodness. I forgot his name. Neptune. Many other companies were coming out with third-party Dinobots. So at one time I actually had one from him, or one, a Sludge from Planet X, a Sludge from Toy World, which was going to be a combiner. It just couldn't stand. I had to sell it. And then I also got one from Fans Project or something. Well, either way, it was the Lost Exo Realm or whatever, and they came with the little Dino Riders. And that that Sludge could just twist his neck all around. This one can only go up and down and twist it right here, and that's a disappointment. But really, that and the weapon storage is my only disappointment. Oh yeah, and the tail. It would have been cool if it could do more than this. I like moving tails and moving jaws and stuff. But otherwise, he's got some amazing detail all around him. He just looks awesome. So, on to the next Dinobot that came out. And this one was really cool to get. Summanus, their take on Fall of Cybertron Snarl. And they put a lot of work into this whole fin thing. And it's just awesome. I mean, and these are kind of, they got some articulation. Sometimes they go a little wonky, but it's okay. We still love them. But look at that tail. Look at those spikes. And this all just transforms beautifully into him. Of course, he's got an open mouth. He even has a splitting open mouth for some alien terror. His mouth opens really wide, actually. Ah! And he also comes with plenty of weapons. He comes with these big chunky guns, which I really like. 2 of these. Same mold, so they're not mirror imaged or anything. But still. Pretty cool. And he also came with these two swords. And again, going with that transparent orange plastic like his fins. Now, one thing that kind of annoys me, if you see on this peg right here, it's hollow, and this one it's not. This one is the only one you can plug stuff into. The other one is just too thick, too tight. So when you go to plug his swords and his legs, one has got to be like that, and then on the other side, it has to be like that. And, you know, just being a little OCD, I guess it bothers me. But beyond that, he is a really amazing, really cool figure. He is not as chunky as Sludge, but he makes up for it in this just amazing spinal, platal craziness, and this awesome tail that, again, here's all the articulation you get, and I don't even think that's really meant to be, but it's still just amazing. Just awesome. I love Summanus, the fourth figure, I believe. Oh, he also has blue eyes. Yeah, he is just rocking. Let's see, can we get him a little out of the way for our next Dinobot? And embarrassingly enough, I did reviews of all the Dinobots with the exception of one, and this was it. Quirinus, aka Planet X Slug, depending on how old you are. Slag is an old term, but apparently that's a naughty word in Britain. And so they call him Slug, but the main reason I don't like Slug is because it's too close to Sludge over here. Slug and Sludge. You know, Slag breaks it up. But another amazing figure. I heard a lot of people say amongst the non-Grimlock Dinobots, this is their favorite. He is not my favorite, but he is still really impressive. He's probably... Now he's got a little bit more plastic than Snarl over here. Well, let Snarl peek in. His whole plate fin headstock thing here, it's a little hollow. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't think that's super great. But whatever. It's still a great figure. He opens his mouth too, but it's a little derpy. I'm angry. His spikes right here, and a little bit this one, a little bit this one, a little bit this one, but mainly these ones and these ones, my God, are insanely sharp. But it's really cool. Again, lots and lots and lots of detail, lots of little bit of transparent orange bits on him. Let's take a look at his swords. Now this is something neat. This isn't the actual sword itself, this is a sword and sheath. See? Now the sword itself is a little plain, but it's neat that it comes with a sheath. When this figure first came out, a couple reviewers just took this as the whole sword. They didn't even think to go, but I did. So there's his swords, and of course he's got two of those, and he has these two guns also. Again, these are not mirror imaged or anything, and in fact, if you put them on his legs, you pretty much have to put them backwards, almost like exhaust, because they just don't fit on here. But he, again, cannot carry all four of his weapons. So far, the most successful have been Swoop and Sludge, even though Sludge can't carry all of his weapons either. But another win for Planet X. Look at them big old chunky Triceratops feet. And of course, in case I didn't mention, Snarl over here is a Stegosaurus, and Sludge is a Brachiosaurus or Brontosaurus or one of those. I'm not sure. I'm not a biologist. Wish I was a biologist. Alright, so there we have Slug Slag. And for the Big Daddy of the Dinobots, here we have Grimlock. Roar! Yes, it is Grimlock from Fall of Cybertron. He is way chunkier than the Hasbro version of Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. I actually used to have 1, 2, 3, or 4 different versions of him. 4. I used to have 4 different versions of the Hasbro Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. I had the retail version, the version that came with the in the STCC box set with the Bruticus. I had one that came out during Age of Extinction with a deluxe silver Optimus Prime figure. And finally, I had the Takara Doomlock Fire Blast version. So I got rid of all 4 of those and now have him and the Fire Blast version, which I will show in a minute. So, whew, that was a mouthful, guys. I bet he never has to say that. But this is Grimlock. To further differentiate him from what I call Doomlock, I like to put Grimlock in more of a G1 upright position T-Rex, because you can do it like that, or the more, straight line T-Rex. But yeah, just to further differentiate him, I keep him in G1 style and keep Doomlock in more of a Fall of Cybertron long T-Rex style. But he can do both. He is really, really chunky, really heavy, pretty sturdy. The only thing so far I've broken on any Fall of Cybertron thing was one of Sludge's guns. I'm not sure how it happened, but the handle broke off right here. And I contacted Big Bad Toy Store, and about a month later they sent me a new one for free. And that was pretty cool. But yeah, Grimlock has got red eyes now. Somebody finally has some red eyes. Oh, I'm not showing off his red eyes. Again, Autobot symbols, repro labels. He's got really sharp teeth. His mouth doesn't open it opens super wide like this. And that's not a tongue, that is a flamethrower blaster or something. And he just looks very, very angry, even with his mouth closed. But I like the mouth open type of thing. His arms have got a lot more articulation than the little plastic bits that were the Hasbro Fall of Cybertron figures of Grimlock. I mean, look at this. Hasbro definitely couldn't have done that one. Even has opening fingers and stuff. And they don't fall off just by going like, bip. So that's cool. His tail's got quite a bit of articulation. It can go up and down right here a little bit. Then right here it's got a back and forth, side to side, Right here is another back and forth to side. Then one at the tip. So you can get some really curvy tails, or make one bit go that way, one bit go that way. Some crinkly tails, what have you, straight. He also has these really cool thrusters, like from the game, that you can sit down or lift up. One fun little Easter egg from the game that you can do is you can take Swoop here, pull down these things that almost look like suspenders, and like in some level of the game, you could actually just kind of swoop in. Let's see how it works here. And grab Grimlock right here and fly with him. So yeah, I'm not touching Grimlock at all. And there goes Grimlock and Swoop, so he's pretty much a jetpack form. So yeah, that's pretty neat. You could also do that with the Fall of Cybertron Hasbro version, but that's in the past now. So yeah, great figure, and it made us wonder, alright, you got Grimlock down, who's next? Repaints a Grimlock, that's who. But first, let's do a full normal Dinobot little display here. Yeah, I see his foot. I'm going to fix it. He's got kind of a wonky foot. It likes going where it feels like. But, it's still cool. And here we have all of the Fall of Cybertron Dinobots together forever. Here we go. So how about that? The full crew. Get a little bit more light shed on them. Alright. And now with those in the background... Oh, I almost forgot. Grimlock's weapons. So he comes with just up-gianted versions. Up-gianted. Yes, that's what I said. Up-gianted versions of the Hasbro figure. Comes with this sword. I'm sorry I don't have a Hasbro sword to show you, but it's like this in comparison. And if you ever seen the Hasbro shield, you will know this is a big upgrade. I mean, I can cover the whole camera with this. Look how big this is. It is huge. Actually, I think it's a little too big, about 30% too big. I mean, this is more than double the size of the last one, but still, really big shield. So, there are his weapons. A little cool storage thing you can do, and they store on the side of his legs, right here. But to make storage a little neater, you can plug the sword right here with that peg, this peg hole. And there you go. You got his whole arsenal in one piece. So, now for the final actual Dinobot. Because I do have another very dino looking feller here, but he's not actually a Dinobot. We have their first repaint of Grimlock. Doomlock. Which is what they called the little red Grimlock pterosaur from Energon, was Doomlock. So that's what his name is. And to further differentiate him, first of all, I've got him in the more vertical T-Rex mode, as you can see. Second of all, I made him a Decepticon. I figure Shockwave took all the angriest parts of Grimlock that he had probably noted and made a new Grimlock. Angrier and probably stupider. But he looks really, really, really impressive. Actually, Swoop, if you don't mind, I'm going to move you to the side over here by Sludge. You like Sludge, right? Yeah, he's cool. The red color is just really eye-grabbing. You got all these very, very dark gray, not quite black, but very, very dark gray, maybe black, bits to break up all that red. Some gold bits like here on his tail and his arms. He's got some silver, some very bright silver, as you can see my lights reflecting off of it around his mouth. Green eyes to go with his other transparent green bits. Oh, there's some more gold on his thrusters, which are kind of like a burnt red color in green, which you've got plenty of that burnt red color too. So yeah, really great figure. There was a third Grimlock that came out. There was just a chromed Grimlock. Like all the silver right here was more silver like that, just chromy. But I just didn't, if he can't stand for a new character, then I just couldn't buy a third Grimlock. I know, I'm a loser. So, with that, that's all the Dinobots I have. Yes, I know I did not show off Planet X Triton, their paddles, because I just never got around to getting them. And I am very disappointed. One day I will get paddles, and in doing so, Swoop will get his transparent red swords. So, let's go on to the next part. I'm going to stop right here, clean up real quick, and make everything a little easier. Alright, so again, I have neglected to show off some weapons. I didn't show off his weapons. Now, for Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, or what did they call him? They called him Hephaestus. And just so you know, Grimlock was Vulcan. They called Grimlock Vulcan, and he is Hephaestus, or Hephaestus, I don't know. Sounds cool either way, sounds like somebody you don't want to mess with. But his weapons are same exact weapons as Fall of Cybertron Vulcan Grimlock, except they're yellow. Yeah, we're going back to that whole Hardtekticon really does not like PP yellow transparent plastics, but it could have been worse. I mean, it should have been green like his eyes, but maybe that was just a little too much. But here's his weapons. They are very sharp. And they go in his hand like this. I'll show more when we get to robot mode. And of course, they can store in the side of his legs. Unfortunately, the sword don't look too bad. But the shield, whew, the shield. I ain't talking about no Michael Chiklis stuff. Yeah, that is distracting. That is very distracting. So, that's why I normally pose them without their weapons in their dino modes. So, we are now caught up with all our Dinobots, minus Chrome Grimlock and Triton, aka Paddles. So now we can get on to some more classical Transformers. Now, the second one isn't so classical unless you count 86 as classic, but here we have Fall of Cybertron, or Planet X, Asclepius, which is their take on Fall of Cybertron Perceptor. Yes, their very first non-Titan or Dinobot figure was Perceptor of all figures. And, you know, at first I'm like, oh, come on, what about Megs? What about Optimus? What about Starscream? What about Shockwave? That Shockwave we got sucked. And I don't mean to be hating on figures, but that was a wimpy freaking Shockwave. Not hefty at all. But this isn't even all of Perceptor. Oh, pull that tank turret out. Yeah. He also comes with this whole sniper rifle and stand getup. And here's the cool thing about this. First of all, the stand is actually just two extra little pistols. So you also have this little angled one, and they go into the side, creating the stand for the sniper. So let's move this over here. So Perceptor can lay down and snipe out Decepticons, because anybody who's ever read IDW knows he knows how to snipe. So let's take a look at actual Perceptor's vehicle mode. It is a science tank. That's what we're going to call it, a science tank. Now, it does not actually roll. It just has all these articulated wheels, 8 of them to be precise. And they got some of that transparent plastic in it. Make it look cool. And actually, Parts Form is going to hate this, but this is actually 4 pieces right here. We've got our... Okay, well, let's start with that. Each one of these things is another weapon. They can do this. And even his little things can come out like that, making a really mean looking weapon. And there's a handlebar yet. He kind of holds it underslung like that, and it clips into his arm. You'll see during robot mode. But yeah, these are side pieces that don't have to go on vehicle mode. They just go on there for storage. And this is what he looks like without the side pieces. Right, it does add and take away a lot of heft without him. And then the third piece is his turret scope thing. So now Looks more like a sad sled or something without all those pieces, but no big deal. He's Perceptor. Normally not supposed to be any kind of warrior. Where does this go back on? Ah. The way it fits in there, and I'm not going to try and show you because it's so dark in there, but you really don't think this thing would stay on, but it stays on decently. But it doesn't take much for it to come off. But yeah, so Perceptor comes with an insane amount of weapons. These two big old weaponry things, his turret scope thing, and his sniper rifle, which is collapsible for more of a less snipery rifle. So yeah, he is just armed to the frickin' whatever robots have instead of teeth. Pitch modulators or something. Yeah, he is just packed to the brim with weaponry. So that's pretty cool. And he, again, amazing detail. I showed you the articulated wheels. They spin and they wiggle around for all kinds of terrain rolling. And this moves up and down and is collapsible. And this thing spins around for pretty much no reason. There's the back, more of that transparent plastic. Good looking figure in vehicle mode, but this was my first figure to not have a half decent alt mode. I mean, it's decent, but it's not great. And when you're paying $100 or more for a figure, you kind of hope all of it's going to be great, but it makes up for it in the end. You'll see. So, there was Asclepius and his ridiculous amount of weaponry. Just going to put this to the side. Next to come out was their take on Starscream. Right here. Which, of course, they ended up coming out with a lot of repaints for. I do not have all of them. I don't have Thundercracker and Skywarp. Oh, they called him Morris. This is Planet X Morris, which is Fall of Cybertron Starscream. And he is very, very different from his Hasbro version. He is very long compared to the Hasbro version. The Hasbro version is like comparing, you know, somebody super tall to Danny DeVito. But kind of scrawny. Not like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, but like, I don't know, who's super tall? Tom Cruise. Okay, Tom Cruise is like insanely tall. So, Tom Cruise and Danny DeVito. No? No, not Tom. Well, I don't know who's tall. Everybody looks tall in the frickin' movies. Living life as a 5'4" guy. Oh, crap. But yeah, here we have Starscream. And he is looking very sleek. Very sharp edges, very... That just does not look like a friendly plane. That does not look like the plane that's coming to save the day. Oh, look, it's this Seeker Armada. They're coming to save the day. No, they're not. Unless you're Megatron or Soundwave, they are not. But he's looking pretty cool. He's got this little sled thing here instead of a wheel. And these two pieces right here are the rest of how he stands in vehicle mode. He comes with these two rifle-like blasters. We're going to say they're his null rays, but what have you. They look like this. Unfortunately, they are not collapsible. They're just one solid non-moving piece. The only non- or moving piece is the handle for some reason. You can kind of slide it up in there. I don't want it all the way because it's really hard to get out. And it makes you wonder why. Why would you slide that, push that up in there? And then you see this slot. It makes you very, very curious. And that's not the only time that Weapon X or Planet X gets curious with their accessories. And the whole thing of them being able to slide into themselves makes it really difficult to put back in. Unless you've had a lot of training, because I mean I do have 4 of these guys. The only Seekers I don't have his Thundercracker and Skywarp, which I believe they are called Phantom, and I don't remember what Skywarp is called. But either way, that's his first two accessories. His next accessory, which is neat that this can actually be on vehicle mode, is his Auguration Crown. Alright. From where he was dubbed King of the Decepticons. And it's a pretty neat little golden crown. This little piece right here kind of goes into the back of his head, makes it stay a little better. Four-pronged. So, yeah, there's his crown. And this is what it looks like without the crown. Which, let me fix this. This part goes down, these part go over it. Yeah, so pretty cool. Lots of detail, not as much detail as the Dinobots, but I guess for the sleekness of it, it can't have all those lines and bits. The bottom of his feet make the thrusters. Again, transparent plastic, looking really cool. They love using their transparent plastic. A yucky orange transparent plastic for the cockpit window. There's underneath, you see his face. Kind of a spoiler there. And an accessory that all the Seekers come with, in varying colors, is this mace. Which, the only way to put this on vehicle mode is this. Suck. Yeah, that just sucks. Interesting enough, it does come apart like this. And, no, that's it. It just comes apart like that. And he can hold it in his hand in robot mode, even while with his null rays on his arms. But it's pretty cool. It's surprisingly not as sharp as a lot of Planet X points. So cool. Now there is Starscream. Now since I have got so many of the Seekers, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on each one. We're just going to run through them. Now here is a special edition figure for some show or another. And I think this one's called Somnus or Ghost of Moors. And it is Ghost Starscream. And I love me some Ghost Starscream. It just, I don't know why. I guess I just really like the concept. But again, same sleek vehicle, done almost entirely in transparent plastic. So I've got to be really careful with it. Oh crap. So he also comes with the null rays, except they're transparent. Unfortunately, the crown that he comes with is the same crown that you will get with Sunstorm, which I'm forgetting his name right now, Solaris. And but it's done in solid purple. I think it's painted purple, but still, it would have been cool for like some kind of transparent crown. Maybe the reason they didn't do it is because they know I'd complain if they did it transparent yellow like this. Or maybe I wouldn't, I don't know. But yeah, really cool looking. You'll see more of the transparent versus non-transparent in robot mode, especially since this video is already lasting incredibly long. And he came with this mace with a transparent handle and a red spiky club section, which is really cool. Alright, next up, since he was already brought up, let's pull out Solaris right here, who is Planet X's take on Sunstorm. And he's pretty neat looking. I'm liking they're making special editions of the Seekers that normally don't get a lot of figure time. But he's looking very cool. Lots of yellows and oranges and transparent yellows and some off-whites. I don't know why off-white. I mean, there's lots of different shades and other colors they could have used. He's got transparent yellow thrusters in his feet. And his null rays are white with a little bit of pink detail on them. And they do wiggle back and forth and up and down. And of course, he too comes with the purple crown, same one from Ghost Starscream, except for the fact that they didn't color that in, so I guess I was right about it painted, and they did color that in. But very cool looking. Again, these are the same exact figures, except some of them come with crowns, some of them don't. But not even the head sculpts are any different, just different paint jobs and different colored weaponry. Now here we have, hopefully I'm saying this right, Asclepius, which is Planet X's Acid Storm. And this is by far my favorite Seeker. Of all the Seekers there are, I love me some Acid Storm. And he's looking pretty cool. I would have liked some brighter, more toxic colors. I think that would have been really cool. If they were going to go with these dulled greens and everything, I think it would have been neater if they went with maybe a little bit of the camo. But maybe that would have been too far from the whole Cybertronian thing. Now he has, again, a yellow cockpit, but it being so much green here, it's not as scaring as like on Starscream. Of course, he has his null rays. There is there is detail in him. You can barely see his purple. Very cool looking. Very green. My favorite color in the whole wide world. And I forgot to show, but Solaris, aka Sunstorm, comes with this mace, a yellow mace with a white handle, and Asclepius comes with a yellow mace with a black handle like everybody else. So I pretty much almost have like a bouquet here of maces. And I do plan on getting Thundercracker and Skywarp. I just wanted to get these special edition Seekers in case there was any chance of them selling out and not being available anymore. On a handful of Seeker crowns. Alright, next to come up was, and it's about time, right? Optimus Prime and his big old rolling fist mode from Fall of Cybertron. I was wondering if they were going to be using the Fall of Cybertron or War for Cybertron, but I was pretty sure they were going to use this. But big upgrade from the Hasbro version, which was tiny. Now this, I've only had, a couple third-party Optimus. No, really? I've only had one third-party Optimus before this, and it was actually just an upgrade set for the Classics or Generations G2 Laser Optimus Prime, another teeny Optimus. And it made him nice Voyager size, but not big old chunky, I am the leader of the Autobots size. Well, Planet X did Optimus right for this one. This is not a robot that you will be taking lightly any day of the week. He looks very cool. I mean, this is... There's his first accessory. We'll get to that in a minute. Again, just chunk. And look, nothing's even coming untransformed or loosened up. Well, maybe that a little bit. But, I think I just have trouble with that. But it is an amazing figure. Again, we don't have quite as much detail on Optimus as we did the Dinobots. But he is still looking really cool. He's got 6 wheels. Having some transparent, or the wheels themselves are transparent plastic that have been painted over, Lots of talking. He is a very shiny red. Look at that sheen. His grill and his windows or whatever they're supposed to be. Smokestacks, all rear and back and everything. And of course, blue, transparent plastic for lights. Some Fall of Cybertron pink. I don't know why they chose pink. It's kind of a dull pink, and it doesn't really do the whole look at this glowing bit of energy, like from the video game. But it could be worse, so I'm not going to complain too much. But he is very cool. He comes with 3 accessories. In case I didn't say, they called him Jupiter. This is Jupiter, Fall of Planet X Jupiter, aka Fall of Cybertron, Optimus Prime. He comes with a blaster right here. It's got 2 modes. This mode and this mode. This mode is good for putting over his fist. You got to put his fist inside his arm, then put this over. It makes a gun look like it's coming out of his arm. And this mode is for putting on top of his truck. Unfortunately, it goes in these slots right here, but it just doesn't stay in good, and it kind of points down. Well, mainly because I just can't get mine right, I guess. Yeah, but whatever. But there is another way to do it, and you can do it in either way, but I like to do it like this. Just take his barrel and put it like this, and it'll fit between these little pieces right here, and there you go. Now, it does not look like it is ready to blast some Decepticons with this barrel, but with this barrel it is, and it looks a lot more sleek. Not so, look at this giant freaking fallacy cannon sticking off the top of my head. So yeah, I like this one better. The other 2 accessories he has is this really cool battle axe and this really cool sword. Now, all this transparent plastic is in orange. It's just harder to see with the darker background, but these are the same colors of transparent plastic. And the cool thing is this axe comes apart into multiple pieces. The 2 blades, the top piece right here, and the bottom piece. And because of that, oh wait, grab it by this part. So it actually comes off in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pieces. Ugh. There we go. And as you can see, you can add more stuff on there. So it's very modular. And one thing I like to do with Nemesis Prime, and I'll show you that later, is instead of giving him a sword and an axe, I give him a sword spear thing, put his blades back on, maybe upside down, maybe right side up, whichever, and use this as a shield. You know, just to break things up. And I'm dropping Planet X weapons. But yes, here we have Optimus, the rolling fist of might. And he's very cool, and I am not disappointed to have this Optimus at all. Only thing I could wish for, which would be out of continuity since there was no trailer in Fall of Cybertron, would be a cool Cybertronian trailer. Alright, and following him up, now he came out much later, but it is the same exact figure in different colors. We have Nemesis Prime, and he's showing off his cannon in the other configuration. Not the big phallus coming off the top of his head configuration, but this one. And he is looking as evil as Optimus Prime looks justy. Like Justice Justy. So yeah. He is a kind of a charcoal black. I would have preferred a more solid, sheeny black, but they went with charcoal black. And he's got his, you know, typical Nemesis Prime Scourge teal. Oh, and this is Planet X Charon or Charon, which is supposed to be like a moon of Jupiter or one of the planets, Saturn. I don't know. But it's named after a moon. And there's his thrusters in the back. They're painted teal, and he's got the tail lights. Let's go ahead and take his gun off, his cannon. See his fist mode. Almost disappearing into my background. But very, very, very cool figure. Really happen to have this one too. Got some red, of course. Got to have a little bit of red on Nemesis Prime. He also comes with the same exact weaponry. The battle axe, which, just to differentiate, I got the blades flipped upside down. Normally they're like this. Now they're like this. He's got to come closer to cut him. Feel all that energon all over his hand. And he also comes with, that seems to be the thing that I dropped, his sword. And his weapons are in a nice blood red transparent plastic. And this thing is sharp. Yeah. So, some nice accessories. It would have been cool if he came with something a little bit different, but still, all the modularness of the weapons allow you to change things up and tweak it around and all that. Now, just for fun, let me go and put his cannon back on. When I first started this channel, my very first video was my video for my very first custom, a Fall of Cybertron custom Nemesis Prime. And I guess I should have pulled this out to show with Optimus, but since I was saying I didn't have that figure, but I guess I do. And there he is. That is Hasbro's Fall of Cybertron Optimus, which I repainted into a tealless, all red and black Nemesis Prime. And here is Planet X's Nemesis Prime. So let's get them from front wheel to front wheel or bumper to bumper. And look at that. Look at that. That is a big difference. So he still is part of my Fall of Cybertron collection, but now he's kind of just like a drone. And just to show off what I got here, took two of the Ironhide Mech Tech weapons from whichever the orange iron cannon blast or cannon fire Ironhide, and gave one on each side. And now, even next to Nemesis, he's not looking so tiny now. He's looking pretty brutal with these guns on the sides. So yeah, now he is Nemesis Prime's personal little shield, drone, whatever, to use as cannon fodder, what have you. Decepticon symbol provided by Repro Labels. So, now for this next one, I am actually going to have to turn the camera off, clean back up, because here we come with our next beast. Alright, now as you can see, I had to back off quite a bit, because here we have Planet X Apocalypse Part A and B. And this, look at this. This is a big guy. This is my hand. I've got about a medium-sized hand. Big guy. Sharp guy. This dangerous guy. This is Fall of Cybertron Trypticon's vehicle mode, his alt mode, which is actually the Nemesis. Not Nemesis Prime. It is the spaceship, the Nemesis, from Transformers Prime, the TV show from a few years back. Because Fall of Cybertron actually leads into the Transformers Prime cartoons, with some actual little novels in between. But yes, this is the Nemesis. This is what Starscream and Shockwave and Megatron and all those Vehicons are walking all over. But yes, this is a big guy. When it comes down to it, something about this vehicle mode seems even more massive than his kaiju mode, because Trypticon, he's not a dinosaur, he's like Godzilla, he's a kaiju. But yes, very big guy, especially when you got these pieces right here. If it weren't for these pieces, it wouldn't be so big. And same thing with Trypticon, if it weren't for his tail, he wouldn't be so big. This turns into his tail. But this guy is just, my God, he's just so massive. It's very hard to display this thing because it's so big, it takes up so much space, but it's so awesome looking. what we are looking at is, excuse me, a very, very, very dark gray, almost black, but I wouldn't call it completely black. There's actually very little completely black in the Planet X line. But yes, this is Trypticon in his vehicle mode. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys, he does have a third mode beyond Kaiju and Nemesis. He has his battle station mode. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm going to skip it. It is not cool. It's not really worth the time. It's kind of ugly, and you know, for a battle station, you can't even really sit anybody beyond just some Titan Masters on it. And even Titan Master wise, not many. Maybe I'll go back to it and do it one day for you. You know, maybe one time I actually turned him into his battle station mode along with MMC's Overlord. That was kind of neat, but still, the actual Hasbro Titans do much better battle stations. So yeah, but he is massive. He is amazing. He's got all these little slots right here and in different spaces around him over here that allow for, no, not this one. I don't think that one does it. I can't tell. That allow all these little purple little dots with LEDs in them to be put in. And I'll probably show that off in figure mode because it is much cooler like that. Here's all his thrusters. This thruster has some articulation, so that's kind of cool. These turn into his fingers back here. Just really, really great figure. I don't know how much of this you can see. His nose is really long, but I love it. I wish I had Gamatum or Genesis. Probably Gamatum because he's about $170 cheaper. And maybe one day I'll get him. Maybe soon. But, you know, finances and such. But yeah, here we have Trypticon's big old frickin' angry, mean looking, brutal looking alt mode. I don't know much of that you can see. Not much at all. Look at all that. Alright, and we are coming down to the home stretch of alt modes. Only got 2 left. And the next one we have is kind of a repaint, remold, kind of not. We have Fall of Cybertron Ultra Magnus, aka Planet X's Apollo. Yes. Now that we're back in close-up mode, got rid of the Titan there. Excuse me. We have Apollo, who is Fall of Cybertron Ultra Magnus. Now, he is not exactly like the game, but they wanted to do a little bit of something classic here. This is actually, and let's see, who do I got closest? Got Optimus Prime. Now, the G1 figures from 1984, we all know that there were a lot of repaints as of today. And for a while, Ultra Magnus was just an albino freaking Optimus Prime, even though he looked very different in the cartoon and movie. There we go, sorry. And if you look toward the back of this, it's starting to look kind of familiar, huh? Don't you think? Right. This figure, Apollo here, is a white Optimus Prime with a shell of armor, turning him into the Ultra Magnus we know and love. Again, this is not exactly like the Fall of Cybertron model, but they were doing their best to figure out how to put an Ultra Magnus shell over a white Optimus Prime without much retooling. There is a little bit, but it's mainly just repainting and the shell over it, which comes off in multiple parts. But it is very cool. I cannot look at this thing and not think like super high tech. If the government was going to ride a motorhomes, this is the ultimate SWAT war motorhome. it just looks like some super high-tech monster motorhome to me. Kind of makes me think of something that Grandpa from Ben 10, Grandpa Tennyson, would drive. Because he always drove something called the Rust Bucket. It looked like a junky old motorhome. But it was actually pretty high-tech and pretty heavily armed. But yeah, this is Fall of Cybertron Ultra Magnus. Not a boatload of detail. He does come with this gun. And right here are these smokestacks that normally go on them. I just kind of added to the gun to make it look more heavy duty. But there are a couple differences in the core robot from the Optimus Prime and Nemesis Prime. But they still add the pieces, so if you want just a white naked Ultra Magnus, you can. But here's his gun. Pretty cool looking gun. Can do this is for more of his Optimus Prime mode. This is for more Ultra Magnus mode. It does... Here's another Planet X mystery. I don't think anybody has solved this yet. It splits open, and then you see this little tab right here. You can actually tab it open like that. And there's an alternate version of his gun with a square hole in it. I mean, is that not curious or what? It won't go completely straight. Like, it always kind of goes in a little bit. And it almost looks like some kind of gun where, like, you know, electricity, you know, arcs here and here and then gets propulsed out. But I still wonder if Planet X doesn't have something up their sleeve. But easy enough, it can be turned right back into... Come on. It's normal mode. Right there. Now, real quick, just so you can see what it looks like, we're going to go ahead and pull off all this shellage. We're going to see if we can get it off all in one piece. Like a neat reveal type of thing. Almost all in one piece. Oh, two pieces. How about that? Well, here's the front piece. And that right there, that just looks silly. But let's get this separated. Oh, I remember now. You can take it off all in one piece if you're good enough. Let's see here if I am good enough. Nope, I'm not good enough. Sorry guys, I'm just not good enough for this. Whoa. So there's another chunk. So I guess accessories wise, you could say Ultra Magnus is winning. Now here is his hammer that becomes part of the truck. You just kind of straighten it out and, nope. Let's see here. Let me get this right. There we go. It's got to go like this. And he's got this little hammer. And I do love Ultra Magnus with a hammer, but this thing is just a little wimpy. Especially since his hand takes up most of the stock right here. Most of the handle. But let's finish getting all this armor off of him. If I can. It's kind of hard to do it behind the camera. There we go. And let's see. Can I do that first? Of all. There we are. Get the nails under there. Good thing I didn't cut my nails before this review. Hope y'all don't think I'm insanitary, but you know, not too bad. I just needed some fingers to get stuff out with. There's some fingernails. So now you can actually put these right back on because the piece that they connect to is what these hook onto. And in case you were wondering, the missile pods, the only way they disconnect is like this. I mean, that is a 5mm peg right there. It is, right? Let me double check. Yeah, it's a 5mm peg right there, so do what you want. 5mm hole right there, so do what you want. But yeah, I don't know what you can do. But here we have naked Ultra Magnus with a bunch of messy parts all over the place. And he looks just like Optimus Prime, but He has like blue transparency or blue transparent plastic. He's an off-white. It's got some green detail. I think that's pretty cool. Makes me think of the Combiner Wars Leader Class figure. Blue windshields, a little bit of silver here and there. Looks pretty cool even naked. I mean, if this was just kind of like a show special and they're like, well, we can repaint the heck out of him, so here's an Ultra Magnus, if you want it, I'd probably still pick it up. Especially if he came with his own weapon. Unfortunately, there's nowhere I can find to plug this in on this mode. Same thing with the weapon. Let's see if it'll just fit. Oh, there you go. I guess it fits right there. So yeah. And just so you can see all three of these guys together. Hold on one second. I lost everybody. Ultra Magnus, Optimus, and Nemesis, aka Jupiter, Apollo, and Charon. They are completely out of frame, aren't they? There we go. How's that look? So yeah, that's pretty cool having, you know, nice little Cybertronian rainbow. And our final figure of my Planet X collection is the big, the bad, the ridiculously sharp Fall of Cybertron Megatron, aka Planet X's Pluto. Why do they name Megatron after the tiniest planet that isn't even always a planet? Huh. I feel a little offensive about that. But either way, here is Megatron. To show him off flat doesn't show too much, so let's hold him up, give him a little bit of angle. This is quite the big upgrade from the War for Cybertron, which is a different alt mode, but still. Either this or the Fall of Cybertron Megatron from Hasbro, I'd take this any day. Even if it costs 5 times more. 6 times more. But yes, this is an amazing figure. All these parts back here, these little spines, you got to put those in yourself, and they are sharp. Not just point-wise, but even the edges are very bladed. Here's a sword, it comes out. Besides his cannon, which is pretty set in there, this is his only accessory. Oh, and that reminds me, I've completely forgot about something. Here, we're going to use Charon. You know what? I can save this feature for the figure part of the video. Which, going by the length, I believe that is going to be a second part. So, part 1 is alt modes. Part 2 is going to be figure modes. So, there we go. But yes, this one does have quite a bit of detail. A lot of bits of color that really make it pop out. Like, you'd expect that to be black, which is, again, this off black, you know, very, very dark gray, but that's purple. That's purple right there. That's purple right there. Some transparent purple. I'm sorry, but that just looks like a face to me. But yeah, transparent purple and these things, which I'm guessing are supposed to be some kind of ion thrusters or something, I don't know. The tips of the wings are fairly sharp. Got these things, and if you look at them, looks very reminiscent of the Transformers Prime Megatron alt mode. So you could see how he went from this to that, and was like, I'm Megatron, I do not need to take a Earth alt mode. But yeah, look at his cannon. His cannon is collapsible, but that's mainly for figure mode, or robot mode. Really great piece. Not too much articulation beyond what I just showed you. These little eyeball things kind of move a little bit. I guess, you know, like, go down now, go back straight. But yeah, really great figure. I don't want to be slamming this one down because of all the sharp angles. But very chunky. Just great. Tyrannical, awesome. Again, the sword, transparent purple plastic. I really feel like Megatron should have came with this, and Starscream should have came with a sword, but I understand how... Ow! I just gripped the sword. This one's going to look super cool. When I first got this piece, real quick, this part is very sharp. This part is very sharp. These parts are pretty sharp. This part's very sharp, so is this. This right here is very sharp. And this right here, I was pulling it out of his hand and it went like that in my thumb. And actually made me bleed, you know, a decent amount for just a little pin prick or sword prick. But very sharp, but very cool looking. Very chunky. Nice, solid, good piece of toy. So, for vehicle mode, I gotta say that is it. Here we got some Megatron action. Here we got some Optimus action. So there's Optimus versus Megatron. And then just to throw in some extraness, here we have Megatron or Grimlock. Some great alt modes here, guys. Great alt modes. I really enjoy the scale of everything. Just great stuff. Now, what am I missing? I do not have the chrome version of this Grimlock. Not going to get them. I don't have Genesis or Gamatum, which is the Optimus or Omega Supreme. Excuse me, I've been talking a lot, guys. The Omega Supreme and the Omega Sentinel of Fall of Cybertron from Planet X. Nor do I have Triton, which is Paddles. Triton is actually a heavy remold of Neptune, aka Sludge, the Dinobot. And finally, the last two figures I don't have are Phantom and Quirinus or something like that, which is Thundercracker and Skywarp. I'm going to try and get Triton. I hope one day to get Gamatum. And I will get Quirinus and Phantom for Thundercracker and Skywarp, or Skywarp and Thundercracker, because you gotta have all the Seekers, man. You gotta. So, until I get all these other figures, or all these figures transformed, this is Hardtekticon, and I'm gonna see you real soon.